They had a very roller coaster and rocky romance at the time, they both said, and they were both incredibly young, and they both were at the beginning of their careers, and Angelina's really took off after she married Johnny Lee Miller, so ultimately it didn't survive.
With the end of the marriage, Angelina focused her energies on acting. In her next film, Foxfire, she played the role she knew best, that of a tough, sexy tomboy.
This really does establish her, Angelina, as a bad girl. And it's also where the rumors of Angelina's bisexuality started and everything else.
Even while Angelina was in a relationship with Johnny Lee Miller, she had an affair with a co-star in another movie called Foxfire. But this co-star was a little bit different in that it was a woman. It was a model named Jenny Shimizu.
She was in those Calvin Klein One ads, and you know, very sort of heroin chic, as it was called back then. And you know, that was a match made in heaven. So I think that was sort of Angelina's first real kind of flirtation with a same-sex relationship.
It's sort of one of those good news, bad news situations where, you know, the good news is Angelina Jolie is dabbling in bisexuality. The bad news is you're not involved in that at all.
Things may have got hot and heavy on the set, but Foxfire left audiences cold. At 21, Angelina had 3 flops under her belt, enough to end any young actress's career. But instead of giving up, Angelina decided to try her luck at something totally different, starring in the TV miniseries George Wallace.
She's playing like a political first lady. You know, this is someone who's very buttoned up and, you know, very conservative, very conservatively dressed, conservative morals in mind. And you compare that to her, you know, sort of like crazy punk rock roles from before. I mean, it's just a complete 180-degree turnaround.
I think what the critics liked about Angelina's performance in George Wallace was that she was able to take what could have been a one-dimensional role. You know, she could have been just a giddy Southern belle, but she actually manages to bring some depth to that role.
Angelina's performance won her a Golden Globe Award in January 1998 for Best Supporting Actress in a miniseries.
I mean, it's very easy to work with them, and with Gary, it was a piece of cake, so in some way.
The award kick-started her career, but it was her next TV role that proved to be Angelina's breakthrough.
Gia is basically the film that launched Angelina Jolie's career. It's pretty much the one film that just catapulted her into Hollywood, and it's one of those roles that a lot of actresses would have given their teeth for.
She played a supermodel from the 1980s, a real supermodel, who ended up dying of, she was a drug addict and ended up dying of AIDS.
Here's this girl who's beautiful, yet pretty unhinged, and watching her come apart on screen is a powerful thing, and I think the audience really feels for her. And I think that's a quality that Angelina Jolie brings out in a lot of characters, is empathy.
Angelina was actually initially not even sure she wanted the role. You know, she turned it down 4 times because she was worried that it would expose too many of her inner demons and that she might not be able to recover from it.
At first I was really scared to play her because there's a lot of similarities, a lot of things that I didn't want to think about in my life, and I didn't, you know, but it was so cathartic.
It was this kind of confusion between, you know, where her character ended and where Angelina began. I mean, they both have these incredibly dark sides. Again, another powerful performance that really got her a lot of attention and got her another Golden Globe.
At 23, Angelina had taken home her 2nd Golden Globe. Suddenly, she was the name on every director's lips.
That's when people started realizing that this was somebody who could actually be a star. This is not just, you know, a famous celebrity kid turned model turned actor. This is somebody who had some potential chops here.
In early 1999, 24-year-old Angelina Jolie spent 3 months in a mental institution, filming her next movie.
Angelina is notoriously dedicated to getting into character, and particularly for her role as a sociopath in Girl Interrupted, she wanted to cut herself off from human interaction and from emotions like empathy or sympathy.
In Girl Interrupted, Angelina played yet another character that hit close to home.
This is a girl who felt sort of estranged from the world, who had a hard time fitting in, but I suspect that that's part of what appealed to her, that there was something she could relate to in this character.
Every character I play is a part of me with every other part of me stripped away. So she's inside me without a lot of other things. And she's somebody who's, in my mind, she's completely honest, too honest. Sometimes a little too realistic, can't really dream things away.
Angelina plays Lisa, this rebellious mental patient, and it's this raw, wild performance. But yet behind that wildness, there's a level of control.
The scene that stands out for most people, I think, from that movie is when she's chasing Winona Ryder.
Well, you don't like me anymore? No, I don't! Because you're free?
She is totally nuts. She's scary.
I'm free!
And I think there's that fear of watching her and this fear of this character that always comes with watching Angelina's performances. You don't know what's going to happen next.
The really remarkable thing about Girl Interrupted is that it was kind of supposed to be the star vehicle for Winona Ryder, but instead Angelina Jolie sweeps in and steals the scene.
Angelina's performance was the buzz of Hollywood, and it was no surprise when she was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in 2000.
That was sort of it. Everything blew up. Everyone loved her. Everybody wanted her. She showed up at the Oscars in this stunning dark dress, and she became the talk of that night and many nights to come. Everyone thought, what is she going to do next?
It was her performance on the red carpet that caused a bigger stir than any of her previous roles.
Here comes Angelina, sort of like, holding hands with her brother, wearing this, like, black, goth sort of outfit. I mean, you know right away, this is going to be an interesting night.
Her winning the Oscar was such a huge night for her, and it was such a memorable win. And very few people remember she actually won the Oscar. What they remember about it, of course, was she kissed her brother.
They kissed full out on the lips, and it's not a peck. It's not like, I'm so happy. It's, let's make out. And it was like the kiss scene around the world.
People were really taken aback when they saw Angelina and her brother kiss in that manner on air.
It was shocking, and it became very controversial. People were saying that, Angelina has an incestuous relationship with her brother.
People really believed that. A couple of years ago, Angelina told people that it's not like it was some odd open-mouth kiss. It was a very nice moment, and she is actually dismayed that it became such a circus.
Although the tabloids had a field day with the story, the media largely ignored the real scoop.
Well, the media was so busy speculating about Angelina Jolie's relationship with her brother, what they really missed was that she was having this whirlwind romance with Billy Bob Thornton.
Angelina and Billy met on the set of Pushing Tin. Once again, Angelina falls for one of her co-stars.
Angelina and Billy Bob's relationship started out with a love triangle, just like with Brad and Jen. Billy Bob was actually engaged at the time to be married to Laura Dern.
Angelina has maintained that she and Billy Bob were just platonic friends on the set of Pushing Tin, and that it wasn't until afterwards and after he exited his relationship with Laura Dern that they became romantically involved.
They say they didn't have sex until 2 weeks before their marriage. I mean, who believes that? I mean, come on. You couldn't put these two in a room without them sort of like crashing together like rams.
She'd finally met her match in terms of eccentricity. They both loved tattoos. They were both kind of dark. They both went through these periods of near insanity. They were both regarded by the public as these really odd, puzzling figures.
On the 5th of May 2000, Angelina and Billy Bob surprised everyone by getting married in Las Vegas. Particularly surprised by the news was Billy Bob's fiancée.
Laura Dern was completely blindsided by his relationship with Angelina Jolie. I mean, she says one day she turned around and her fiancé was basically married to someone else.
I'm deeply, deeply in love with my husband. And wouldn't, and I don't even know how I could live without him if anything ever happened to him.
Right from the get-go, when Angelina and Billy got married, it was the Angelina and Billy Bob freak show.
Yes,
this couple set a new bar for PDA. Honestly, they would go out on the red carpet and like start making out in front of everyone and like telling everyone what they did in bed last night.
It just escalated and escalated and escalated. I think that Angelina Jolie at that time in her life really enjoyed the shock value of it. I think that half of the things that they said just to shock people.
Just when we thought that their relationship couldn't get any more bizarre, suddenly we saw them wearing these vials around their neck that were actually filled with each other's blood.